Hello guys. Okay, so I'm Animesh, one of your quiz masters for the day. I welcome you all to Coincidence, I think not, a quiz on myths, mysteries, and conspiracies. Please note that this is an under 25 quiz and a solo quiz. Now we'll head on to the rules. Uh, this is an under 25 quiz, so people with age under 25 or under 25 only. There are a total of 25 questions in the quiz. Each carries 1 point, and there are no negatives. In case of multiple parts, the points will be divided equally. Please note that question number 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 are star marked. They will be used to resolve ties, if any. A camera icon on top left indicates that an image follows the question slide. You have to type in your answers in the G form only, on the right for desktop users and bottom for mobile users. You have to submit the G form within 90 seconds after the last question is closed. There will be no rerun of the questions, so make sure that you mark your. I apologize for the technical inconvenience. We will be starting with question number 1 now. So here is question number 1. Find the connection among given images or identify the case or instance. Now you will be shown an image and you have to identify the connection. Okay, so moving on to the second question. Some believe that the dash is a proof of alternate realities, while others blame it on the fallibility of human mind. Some believers Some believers think there are endless universes closely aligned with ours and we shift in and out of them, our timeline in a constant state of flux. Some say the dash is evidence we are now in the darkest timeline. Some say the worst. An instance of the dash. A popular theory is that CERN, The European Research Centre caused a splinter in time and space when it fired up the Large Hadron Collider in 2008 and started flinging atoms at other atoms to discover the root of universe. Of course, there's absolutely no evidence to support this theory. Please fill in the blank. Please note that all the blanks are same here. You have to fill the one blank. All three are same. We will be moving to the next question in 5 seconds. Okay, so here's question number 3. This is the myth of X, the one who is not to be named. According to Y, a movie, the world was created by the goddess of prosperity, who gave birth to 16 crore gods and goddesses. From her womb sprang her firstborn, her favorite and most evil of her children, X. He wished to gain control over the goddess wealth. While she let him have the gold, his siblings declared war on him as soon as he reached for the grain, which fed gods and men alike. Weakened and unable to sustain their attacks, his mother saved him. But there was a price. He would never be worshipped as other gods and goddesses were. In fact, his name would be removed and censored from any text for the rest of eternity. Though Y positions X as a Hindu god, there is no known mention of him in Indian mythology. Name X and Y. We will be moving to the next question in 5 seconds. So, question number 4. In the year 2000, an anonymous person who later came to be known by the name X made a series of online posts and answered multiple queries for months. He was allegedly looking for a device Y, whose production had been stopped a few decades ago. It was needed to debug various legacy codes, computer programs, which could be possibly referring to the famous year 2038 problem. Y had a very unique but simple feature that the company Big Blue removed from any future versions. When asked about his life, he said that in the year he lived in central Florida with his family and deployed at an army station at the time. The people who had survived the Civil War and the atomic strife had grown closer together. Multiple investigations have been launched ever since behind the identity of X. Name X. Moving to the next question in 5 seconds. Also note that this is a star mark questions which would be used to resolve ties if any. Want to escape any prison with adverse conditions? Here is a list of ingredients that you will require. Find the missing ingredient. So here is a list of ingredients that you would require to escape any prison. You have to answer what is the missing ingredient here. Here is the question. You have to find the missing ingredient for a prison break. Okay, so now we will move to the next question. Here's question number 6. The X were an ethnicity of seafaring people who lived 6 centuries ago. They are famous for ambushing their enemies with their hit and run war style tactics. They can be found in various popular media today. However, their portrayal is not always historically accurate. They are often depicted wearing Y, even though there is no evidence of the same. Furthermore, Y would have been impractical in battle. This myth has originated from 19th century opera, where Y was designed as a part of their costume for the first time. What is Y? Okay, so now moving on. Question number 7. A popular myth being described. They floated about a foot off the floor. They looked like clergymen, but wore hats similar to the Homburg style. The faces were not clearly discernible, for the hats partly hid and shaded them. Their eyes suddenly lit up like flashlight bulbs. They seemed to burn into my very soul as the pains above my eyes became almost unbearable. Some describe them as having strange appearances, sometimes with supernatural features like glowing eyes and strange complexions. The transformation of the story from the first press report to a folkloric tale to a comic book and now to a film illustrates how the myth has transformed. Who are they described here, or what is the popular myth? We will be moving on now. 5 seconds. Question number 8. When a novice archaeologist came across a fossil with the features of human and ape, it was thought that the missing link had been found. The missing link was a term used to refer to the gaps in the fossil records. It was a hoax with one of the most serious consequences in scientific history. For decades, it was considered true and even taught to children in school. It led scientists astray from what might have been genuine fossils but did not have any similarities with this finding. The fossil had an ape-like jaw and a human-like skull and was found along with some basic tools. When adequate chemical tests had been developed, it was revealed that the jaw came from an orangutan and the skull from a medieval human. The bones had been stained to give them an ancient look. Name this famous forged fossil. We will be moving on in 5 seconds. Question number 9. In 1960s, Bob Nelson read The Prospect of Immortality by Robert Ettinger, an unprecedented book on cryogenic hibernation, and attended a meeting of the Cryonics Society where he was immediately appointed president. An association with X would have given their organization an immediate international stardom. Unfortunately, by the time the legal documents were approved, X had passed away. Many believe that he was frozen. In an interview, Nelson said that X wanted to be frozen but missed the opportunity. He never gave it in writing, and after his death, his family had his body sent to a funeral pyre. If X had been the first, it would have made headlines around the globe. 2 weeks later, they froze the first man and later on 8 more. It all ended in a disaster as all but one of the bodies thawed and decayed. Identify X. We will move on now. There are many possible causes given for the destruction of this institution. First, X was following his enemies but was soon cut off by their allies. Outnumbered in enemy territory, he ordered the ships in the port to be burnt down, and the fire burnt this institution down along with the enemy fleet. However, significant documentation is missing. Second, the patriarch of the city converted an old temple into a Christian church, likely destroying many related documents. Some time afterwards, a Christian monk was publicly murdered, which started violent riots in the city inhabited by Christians, Jews, and pagans. It is believed that it was destroyed in the mass havoc of the riots. Third, after defeat in battle, the city was taken by a Muslim caliph who saw no use of this institution and ordered it destroyed and used it as tinder in the city. However, the person documenting it had a well known bias against Muslims. Unfortunately, all the authors who documented these incidents had an axe to grind, and therefore, no reliable documentation can be found today. Identify the institution which we are talking about. Please note that this is a star marked question. Okay, now moving on. Question number 11. When X was caught, he was found hiding in an underground spider hole. The next day, the news was reported by BBC. The report contained a detailed infographic that described where X was hiding. Years later, this infographic researched on the internet with hilarious edits about X hiding in bizarre places and theories of him still being alive. Who is X? So we'll move on in 5 seconds. Question number 12. A 1300-year-old scrap or a revolutionary discovery? A papyrus, business card sized, is considered to be the first ancient mention of a conspiracy, which is also the basic plot of a 2003 book. The fragment, written in ancient language of Coptic, had set off shockwaves when an eminent Harvard historian of early Christianity, Karen L. King, presented it in September 2012 at a conference in Rome. King called the business card sized papyrus X. But even without the provocative title, it would have shaken the world of biblical scholarship. Scholars point out some apparent errors in Coptic grammar, as well as phrases that seem to have been lifted from the Gospel of Thomas. This fragment had undergone and passed more state of the art lab tests, inch for inch, than almost any other papyrus in history. Name this papyrus fragment or the person after whom this papyrus fragment is named. Okay, so now we'll move on. Question 13. In 1988, this jagged, fist-sized object with reddish tints was donated to the Dutch National Museum, which previously was in the possession of William Dries, the former Dutch PM. It was one of their most prized collections until in 2009, an investigation found that it was just a piece of petrified wood. The museum keeps it anyway as a source of curiosity. Nevertheless, conspiracy theorists jumped all over this, claiming Dash was busted. This is indeed a curious story. Similar pieces were given to over 100 countries all over the world in the 1970s, one of which was gifted to William Dries. Although why he was gifted when he had already been out of the office for 11 years, and then why would it be given to Netherlands or for anyone for that matter, just 3 months after acquiring it, remains a mystery. As the spokesperson of the museum says, the object carries a lot of unanswered questions. What is the object in question? We'll be moving on now. Question 14. X opens the path of new economic push in that culture. It brings the opportunity for fraudsters and clever businessmen. Charles of Baltimore in Maryland managed to grab this opportunity and pushed a mass produced version of X, which helped his toy company bloom. X was marketed as mysterious family fun. Urban legends coined the name of X, which is the combination of French and German words, both having the same meaning. It is also responsible for several books penned by authors like Pulitzer Prize winning poet James Merrill, who attributed his National Book Critics Circle award winning poem, The Changing Light at Sandover, to work with X. Over its 120 years history, the X has remained a consistent seller for whatever manufacturer owns the rights. Its sales peak at times of national crisis as people want to stay in touch with their lost ones. Whenever pop culture puts out another horror movie, its sales pop up again. Identify X. Moving on to the next question. Please note that this is a star marked question. Question 15. In the 17th century, an assassination plan was executed to ambush and kill the ruler of England. However, it was an unsuccessful attempt. One of the members warned his relative not to be at the place where the attack was going to be carried out on the day, which made him suspicious and the government was tipped off. One of the members, named X, was caught and interrogated. He gave up the names of the other co conspirators who were all executed. The day this plot was foiled has been observed as a special day ever since. Ironically, X has even appeared in the list of 100 greatest Britons, a poll based television show by BBC. An iconic accessory inspired by X has also become popular. This accessory has become an integral part of the identity of an organization, which is the enemy of many governments today. Which accessory? We'll move on in 5 seconds. Question number 16. Mystery of a serial killer who was never caught. You never caught me and you never will. You have never seen me as I am invisible. I am not human, but a spirit and demon from hell. I am whom you call Z. The killer used a weapon, blank, which is why he is called Z. He used to take that weapon from the victim's house itself. His target victims were female, but men were also killed if they came in his way. Interestingly, he never used to steal or take anything from victims' residence. One day, he mentioned in a letter that he will be killing tonight, but he will leave the houses where jazz music will be playing. That night, whole city was filled with jazz parties and there were no murders. Multiple references of Zed can be found in the game The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. There is a special weapon similar to the weapon which Zed used to kill, named after a quote from his letter, which means admires the presence of death. When you kill 10 elite zombies with this weapon, an achievement will be unlocked, which is a reference to Zed again. Give me Zed, a term used for this killer. Okay, we'll move on in 5 seconds. Question 17. A cursed treasure bank. Theories mention that hidden treasures and mysterious objects have been found on or close to X. This place is storehouse of artifacts ranging from hidden pirate treasure to manuscripts of Shakespeare to the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant. There are many sites of digging by different groups of people, but the original and the most popular was dug by a group of early explorers and is at an unknown location today. The curse is believed to have been originated a century ago and states that 7 men will die in search of the treasures before it is found. 6 men have already died in the search. One remaining. Which place? Moving on in 5 seconds. Curse of the X. Connection with him and your death is confirmed. If a 63-year-old dies of natural cause, nothing is suspicious. But when he is a scientist connected to an old frozen corpse of X and the seventh one to die in the chain, the curse is inevitable. X was discovered in the 1990s and also gave rise to theories that he was angry at being disturbed after 53 centuries. This began with the death of the tourist who found this corpse while hiking around the same spot. This was followed by the deaths of archaeologists who inspected the corpse, lead forensic scientists who examined X. The head of a mountain rescue team died of heart attack, and the one who led the expedition died in an avalanche. He was the only one in his team to be struck. Whose curse is this? We'll move on in 5 seconds. In the 19th century, a relatively new American newspaper published a series of articles about various animals and life forms being found in the place X, as seen by a scientist in his trip to the Cape of Good Hope. He was assisted by his latest engineering invention. This invention used a hydro-oxygen microscope to overcome the drawbacks caused by the diffraction of light. It was so powerful that it could even locate insects in far off places. X had been physically unexplored till then, but doesn't remain so now. The place had huge calderas, swaths of gemstones like amethyst crystals, abundant vegetation, and many flowing rivers. The sales of the newspaper dramatically shot up. The person who was most surprised after reading these stories was probably the scientist who allegedly discovered all this. The author turned out to be fictitious, and the scientist had made no such discoveries. The articles were written in a satirical response to some recently published theories and mainly to boost the newspaper sales. Name this incident. Uh, Image will follow in the next slide. So this is the image in one of the published articles. We'll move on in 5 seconds. Please note that this will be a star marked question. One of the popular architectural conspiracies. On the surface, X seems like any other modern architecture. It's new, it's clean, it's big, and it's modern. But some investigators have found more to it than meets the eye. Claims abound that X was designed and built by the Illuminati as the headquarters for the global genocide that will trigger the blank. Indoors, this architecture gets even stranger. The Illuminati appear to have detailed their plans for global genocide and a blank in two large murals. The first depicts a huge Nazi soldier with dead women and children scattered around him, and the second shows third world populations dying, a few elite species protected from the apocalypse in sealed containers, and the Maya symbol from for 2012 presiding over all. Here, the blank is a phrase or specifically a conspiracy which will be attained if Illuminati succeeds in the above explained context. It has been always a favorite topic among many conspiracy authors, and you will also find a similar phrase on the seal of a nation, which has been a superpower for quite a long time. Fill in the blank, the three-word phrase or the conspiracy. Moving on to the next question in 5 seconds. Question number 21. Although theories ranging from alien invasion to government cover ups to Yeti attacks have been put forward, here are two plausible theories for this unsolved mystery. First, avalanche. But since this area is not prone to avalanches and the violent injuries suffered don't match with our other avalanche victims, this theory is often disregarded. But a 2012 study explains how a delayed slab avalanche that occurred when they were sleeping could have been the reason for internal injuries suffered and why the tent was cut open from inside and the victims were without proper clothing. Second, katabatic winds. It is a type of wind which gains speed as it goes down the slope, creating a hurricane like situation in just a few seconds, which again explains why the tent was cut open and the victims were without proper gear. According to this theory, the internal injuries suffered are actually post mortem, which occurred because of the collapsing of the snow in the snow den they had built for themselves. That's where their bodies were found. Although these two theories explain the internal injuries and the inadequate clothing, the mystery of the missing eyeballs and tongue of one of them, which some scientists believe were degraded in those conditions, remains a mystery. Which unsolved mystery are we talking about? We'll move on in 5 seconds. Question number 22. A strange phenomena has made this village world famous that takes place during the months of September to November. A reason given for this is that the presence of fog and mist during that time period. Natives also believe that it is the presence of evil spirits that brings these birds down. Scientists and ornithologists have been trying to explore and understand the mystery as to why birds behave in a particular manner during during those weeks in this village. But there is no solid conclusion. A poet describes this phenomena in her poem by these lines: fog and mist, and a small drizzle. The wind must blow from south to north. On a moonless night, are you a kind of Bermuda Triangle? You, this mysterious poetry of X. Why do you come, O winged angels, through fog and wind? Name this place X where this strange phenomena occurs. We'll move on in 5 seconds. Question 23. An old case was reopened when White decided to write a novel in which he claimed that, in fact, he and not X was the mastermind of a heist which took place 40 years ago. White had thought that the case was too old and he would remain hidden if he used a false name. In the 1970s, a group of people broke into a bank vault through a nearby sewer wall with months of effort. Oddly, the vault had no alarm or security system, making it an ideal target. They used the Bastille Day festival to sneak in. They sealed the entrance from inside and then proceeded to loot hundreds of deposit boxes over the course of weekend. Months later, only X was caught. During his trial, he claimed an encoded document to be his proof of innocence. Trying to decode it distracted the judge long enough for X to make a jump from the window and get away on a motorbike with an accomplice. He was never caught again, nor was the loot recovered. Identify X. We'll move on in 5 seconds. An urban myth, region with no possible way of communication. It is claimed that in this area, radio signals and any type of communication cannot be received, which is well understood from the name given to this region. Legends include strange magnetic anomalies that prevent radio transmission, mutations of flora and fauna, and extraterrestrial visitations. The area was once below the Tethys Ocean, which left marine fossils and huge salt deposits in this region, which are mined today. In 1970, an Athena RTV test rocket launched from Utah towards New Mexico lost control and fell in this region. The rocket was carrying two containers of cobalt 57, a radioactive element. It is often compared to the legendary Bermuda Triangle. Name this region. We'll move on to the final question in 5 seconds. Please note that after the last question is closed, you will be given a 90-second window in which you can submit the G form. I repeat, in the 90-second window, you have to submit the G form with your responses, after which it will not accept any more responses. This is a star mark question. An organization has been accused of using Illuminati symbols more than once, and this can be clearly seen in their logo, in other emblems of council, as well as in its videos and mascots. Quite a few people wonder, why would this organization choose the deity of destruction as their mascot? The logo specifically contains the resemblance of 666, the number of the beast. But according to the explanation given, the logo is inspired by the work done by this organization, and it is made up of two very simplistic line drawings depicting the most important and popular machine used here. This somehow makes it more suspicious, as there are not much printed media available about the work done inside over there. Give me the organization. Okay, with this, the 25th question is over. Now you have 90 seconds to submit your responses. After that, the answers will be discussed. Okay, so the window for submission is now over. The form won't be accepting responses. Now we'll move on to the answer section. You are free to put your guesses in the comment section. So here was the first question. You had to identify the connection. Yes, the correct answer for the first question is the DB Cooper. The search for DB Cooper or Dan Cooper. Okay, now question number two. I'm afraid deja vu is not the correct answer here. Yes, it is Mandela effect. Question number third. You have to name X and Y here. Yes, Hastar and Tumbat is the correct answer. Question number four. You have to name X. Yes, that is correct. It's John Titor. Moving to question number five. You have to find the missing ingredient. I'm afraid lock picking is not correct. Yes, miso soup is correct. All the images are related to Yoshi Shiratori, who is also known as the prison break magician. Miso soup was the last ingredient, which he used to melt the bars of the prison. Here is question number six. Why is a piece of clothing something the people X wore? Yes, that is correct. The people X were Vikings, who are often depicted as wearing horned helmets, when in fact there is no evidence of them wearing horned helmets. Now, question number seven. So here you have to identify the myth which has transformed over time. Yes, Men in Black is correct. The real Men in Black. Question number eight. You have to name the famous forged fossil, which was believed to be genuine for quite a long period of time. Pecking Man is not correct. Yes, Piltdown Man is correct. So it was forged with bones from both human and orangutan, and therefore this hoax was believed for quite a long time. So, question number 9, you have to identify X. If you have any doubts, you can ask them later on the Discord server. Feel free. Yes, Walt Disney is correct. It is a popular myth that he wanted to be frozen but could not be. Question number 10. This is a star mark question. You have to name the institution. There are three popular theories about how it was destroyed, although we cannot be sure of any. Yes, that is correct. The Library of Alexandria. Question number 11. So you might have seen this meme one place or another. You have to identify X. Yes, that is correct. It's Saddam Hussein. Question number 12. You have to name this papyrus fragment or the person after whom this fragment was named. Yes, that is correct. The papyrus is named Gospel of Jesus' Wife. Question number 13 here. What is the object? Which object is being talked about here? Yes, moon rock is the right answer. Now to question number 14. You have to identify X. Yes, that is the right answer. Question number 15. This is a star marked question. You have to name this accessory, which is inspired from X. Yes, Guy Fawkes marks is correct. It was based on his face, Guy Fawkes. You might have seen it somewhere or one place or another. Now to question number 16. You have to name the killer here. What was he called? And it was based on the weapon he used for his murders. Yes, that is correct. It is the Axeman of Orleans. He used to take axes from the victim's home itself and then uh, commit the murders. Now to question number 17. You have to identify the place. It is believed that there a cursed treasure is buried there. Oak Island is correct. The curse of the Oak Island. Question number 18. You have to identify X. King Tutankhamen is not the right answer. Yes, OG is correct. OG the Iceman. Okay, so here's question number 19. You have to name of the incident. The Great Moon Hoax is correct. Articles were published about life being discovered on Moon and about fantastical and mythical creatures living there. Here's question number 20. You have to name the three-word phrase or the conspiracy. Yes, New World Order is correct. Question number 21. You have to name the unsolved mystery. Possible reasons for which are given here. Yes, Dyatlov Pass is correct. Question number 22. You have to name the place where this strange phenomena is observed about something about the behavior of birds during a certain period of time. Yes, that is correct. Question number 23. You have to name X. He was believed to be the mastermind of a heist for some time. Later on, Y wrote a novel in which he claimed that he was the mastermind, in fact. You have to name X. Yes, Albert Spaghiari is the right answer. So, question number 24. You have to name this place where there is no possible way of communication, which is quite evident from the name itself. Yes, that is the correct answer. Mapimi Silent Zone or the Zone of Silence. Okay, so this brings us to the last question. You have to name the organization. We'll see to some queries about acceptable answers while going through the answer sheet. Yes, CERN is correct. So this is their symbol, and they have been accused of using 666, as you can see here. So all answers are done. I hope you enjoyed, although there were some technical inconveniences. We tried our best to overcome them. I hope you enjoyed your time here. And the results would be declared on our Discord server as well as our website and social media handles. So these are the upcoming quizzes which are there in the Quiz Fest. Vivid Bharat Open India Quiz. The finals would be conducted today at 6 p.m. Then on 17th July, we have Not So Lame Quiz, the Open Mela Quiz. Prelims start at 11 a.m. Once Upon a Time, Under 25 Quiz on Tales and Stories, which starts at 3 p.m. And then on 18th July, we have Trials by Trivia, Open General Quiz, whose prelims at 11 a.m. And the Elementary My Dear Quizzers, Under 25 Quiz on Chemical Elements, which starts at 3 p.m. 18th July.